Hey friends, on today's episode I wanted to share with you some updates on tiny homes. So we've been working on tiny homes. If you just started following along, I am in Western North Carolina. We were hit by Hurricane Helene really hard, and we started fundraising to help people avoid homelessness. And so we've been working on several different situations. They take a long time, and I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on where we are at with all of those. We've been able to get a lot of work done, but we still have quite a bit to go. So Ann Ponders, if you guys have been following along, you know who she is. She has been a huge help. She is just someone who felt called to step in and help out in this situation. And so on this day, we were actually pulling things out of a shed that we've been using for storage. Wayne has been so generous. He's where we get our sheds from to let us just use these sheds for storage as we need them. And so this is kind of what we do. We pull things and then we head to the site. This is the site where Anna's home is. It was pretty destroyed in the hurricane. This is somewhere she's renting the land from somebody who's offered to allow tiny homes on there, which has been a huge blessing. So a lot of trees in this area went down, and just this land is being filled with some debris from a concrete company. So they had to do quite a bit of cleanup in order to get the homes there, but it was done, and it was finally time to get Anna's tiny home to her. So on this first day, we really thought she was going to be able to kind of glamp in here. This house wasn't delivered with a kitchen. We were going to build it on site, didn't have water. We got to get the solar connected here, and that actually didn't work out. And so that's the thing, it's a learning curve. All of us, sometimes it's funny, I'll hear things like, well, you guys know what you're doing, so you decide. I'm like, we really don't. We're all just people trying to help people and figuring it out as we go. And so we originally got her mattress set up, and we started building furniture, and then quickly realized it was going to be a while. So over the last couple of weeks, Ian has been going over there every single day, getting water set up. This shed right here is what we decided to do to keep the batteries in there just for safety purposes. Hot water heater. There'll be a water tank in that little shed so it doesn't freeze. And he's been amazing at just figuring out all of these things that we're all new to here. And so she's going to have solar components and all sorts of things. This is a fully off-grid situation. And so the shed, Ann Ponders found that shed, which was a huge blessing to just house all these extra things. The water is now set up, and it's going to be a water catchment system. So there'll be gutters on the roof to collect the water, and hopefully will be enough to give them the water they need. You can get a water refill service here in Western North Carolina because a lot of people do use water catchment systems. So there is a backup plan if for some reason we don't get rain. This right here is for her composting toilet. It's a place to keep the cedar chips. So there'll be a composting toilet in there as well as a shower. So she will have full setup in her home, like to fully function. So in here you can see this is where we're at right now. The kitchen is coming along, and actually to date, I'll give you guys an update and a final tour soon. The kitchen is almost complete. And I shared in an earlier video actually with Anna in it when we went to IKEA to pick out her kitchen. And I'm glad we chose that route because they function so well. We found the perfect size fridge, perfect size stove. So that's her solar system. This is actually her barrel for her water pressure so that she can actually have water pressure. So there'll be a pump inside of here. And on this day, we actually had to move all of those solar panels. They were heavy. And so my husband and me and Ian and Anna, we all just like tag teamed this and got them moved to where they needed to be because they were kind of right in front of her doorway. And she's got a toddler. Didn't seem like the safest space. So we did get those moved. And, you know, it's just taking it one step at a time, getting her fully set up in her new home. The stairs have storage in them. The upstairs is her master. Here's a little tour when it was still a mess. This is the baby's room, and there's lots of storage under those stairs there to maximize that area. I loved the cubbies. Anne actually built those with her pastor under the stairs just for books, shoes, all of the amazing things. In the kitchen, this was again an IKEA kitchen. This is the bathroom again. Shower is finished at this point. And then the IKEA kitchen. And this is an off-grid gas stove, so it actually uses a battery to ignite the stove, so you don't even need power on there. We did some creative things like wall sconces that are rechargeable, so they don't have to be plugged in. There's some batteries for the solar. Those will all live in the wood shed outside, or the metal shed outside. And I'll tell you, these seasons, it can be stressful. It takes longer, it's harder, takes more money than anybody thought. But she did send me a text the other day and was finally getting settled and just feeling so much gratitude as she was moving in her clothes and her daughter's clothes, that they're getting to the final stage and have a safe, secure home to live in. Here it's hard to see, but I was trying to show all the trees that are down. We've had some wind and some rain, and the trees are weak, and it is just piles of trees everywhere. A lot of fires too. This right here is another home we're working on. One of the homes has been delivered, but there's two for this family, two sheds. One is a bathroom and three bedrooms actually. A loft over one of the bedrooms for a younger child. An older child will stay in the bottom loft, and then here's the master bedroom, and there's a bathroom in between these. And this is actually the main house. This is the living room and the kitchen on its way. And just like every situation we had, all of us went on this trip, even Ian. We had big plans of getting the kitchen built when we got there, and all sorts of big tasks happening. But again, it always takes longer and is always more complicated than we expect. And by the time we got to the site of this, we realized first off, the site wasn't going to be ready to where we could put the house on the site. Big storms, huge storms were coming in the following day. Windstorms, and these need to be tied down in this location. They actually need to be secured with such like trailer secures, so that they don't blow over. And so we had to just drop the house, or the main part of the house, the living room, kitchen, in a different location on the property. And so that is where this one has sat. And so we kind of juggle things that way. We got this one up there. They're still working to get that land fixed. We're still in the background. Actually got some extra hands. We have to do paid labor at this point because there's not a lot of volunteers anymore to do this kind of stuff. So we're just hiring people to finish out the bedroom, bathroom. And then Ian's been full-time working over at Anna's. And so we're kind of just juggling all these little different projects in the background. This house is going to be connected. The two sheds will be connected with a greenhouse. And they will be an off-grid situation as well. So solar, they'll have access to water where they don't have to catch water, but they will be off-grid as far as power and solar. So we're still working on this situation, hoping in the next couple of weeks to get that one finished. And then here's an update on John's place. So John's place, we took a shed that was started by a different ministry, finished out by a different ministry. It was a bathroom shed, and then we built the main house, and then connected them with a catwalk. And so his place has turned out so beautiful. He has a bridge now. We got him an electric bike because he actually does have a brain injury and can't drive, and is way, way, way up in the mountain, and he uses that bike to get to work, to do odd and end jobs. And so this one, again, is not fully finished at this time, and I will give you guys an update. We have to put a kitchen in there, but this was the bathroom, and again, this was from a different ministry that donated this, and then Ian connected it for us with a catwalk, and we got all the furniture for him. This beautiful cowhide rug, chair, tables, lamps, and it just turned out so beautiful. The coloring was so perfect. The space was amazing. It fit all the furniture that I chose perfectly, and he was thrilled. John was just over the moon with how this turned out. We still have to put in a kitchen here. He's got a makeshift kitchen right now. It'll just be a simple sink, cabinet set up with a butcher block table, and he will have a stove. This is not off-grid. He actually does have power and water in his location, and so that's a huge blessing. And so we're putting in kind of a butcher block table connected to a kitchen along the other side of this sofa, and that is where he will cook and have his food prep and everything. And then he's using that bathroom storage area as washer and dryer in there now, storage for pantry, because he does need to keep food and stuff on hand because he cannot go to the store on his own. And can't get any place like that. And so he needs to have space to store those kinds of things. And so he was going to build some shelves out here and make a pantry and have his washer and dryer in there. This is his bedroom. Turned out really great. We put these sconce lights up, and then some new stairs were built, and the porch was finished out. It already had a porch on it, but they secured it. And then added the stairs, and it just turned out so great. So you can kind of see everything to the right is where the kitchen's going to go, and that was just the clutter. But the other parts of the home are finished now and absolutely beautiful. And we've just had to shuffle things in, like, what's the next priority, right? We got John secure, we got him decorated. He can live with a makeshift kitchen for a while, and so we moved on to Anna, who was the next most important situation to handle. And that's kind of how it's gone. John was really cold and in a really dire situation during the winter, being in that camper. So we needed to get him secured, but he can live without a kitchen for a while and use what he's been using. And Anna needed to get some stability with her baby. And so that moved up on the priority list. And then in the background, we've still been working on the other family situation while they get their land figured out. And we just shuffle and adjust and keep moving along to the best of our ability, working as a team, a team of misfits, I would call us. Just, again, people helping people. And you guys have been such a huge part of that, because without the funding, we could not have done any of this. So thank you so much. Hey friends, I just wanted to kind of finish out this video giving you final updates. I just had some quick clips of what's been going on and wanted to give you guys those. I will take you on final tours when each house is completely done. So John's will work on the kitchen still. It's a pretty simple kitchen. Just had to put him, he's secure and he's safe and he has everything he needs. So we had to move to the next priority, which was our single mom and getting her stable. She will be finished, I would think, in the next week. We should be 100% done with that project. And then we will move on to our family that has the 2 sheds, and we're still working in the background with those. As far as what we're doing with the ministry moving forward, I think we're coming to a close. I had always said as long as the Lord provided people and the money, we would keep going. And the projects, they take more time, more money than we anticipated, which the Lord provided perfectly for the situations we have. I just don't see us having even the stamina, if I'm being honest, to take on a full nother project, because it is such a big endeavor. We don't have volunteers like we used to anymore. So we are doing paid work, which is, I'm so grateful for every volunteer who stepped in, every hand that touched these projects, such a huge blessing. And I'm so grateful for those that are working for an income too. Like, people have to make money here, right? It's part of what makes, we can't just volunteer. Like, people actually have bills to pay, families to take care of, and things like that. So I'm grateful for the help we have. That is paid help as well. But it does, like, each one of these projects is a multiple month project. There's so many hands involved. There's so many hours from so many different people involved to make it happen. So if the Lord opens up that ability, like if something need comes and we have the funds, I'll keep going. But I feel like we are coming to a close with this, where I'm not actively fundraising for a situation. I don't have a situation that I know of. We do have some situations. I'm not going to say there's not situations, but what we've come across now is, even if I could get a tiny home, we have nowhere to put it, right? And so we've got a lot of that going on, where there just isn't anywhere to put these things for people who need a place to live. So that is where we're at with the ministry side. And, I also need to get back to my work as well. My channel is about growing food in any space, alternative homesteading. And that has taken a hit on my channel significantly because I'm not talking about those things, right? Focusing on other projects. Behind me, you can see I have our mushrooms growing right here. They're doing amazing, actually. But we've got our own projects here on the homestead. My husband has to move his office back to our property. And that's been a real challenge because we live in a very small log cabin. So we are converting our garage, which we had always, like when we purchased this house, we made sure it had a detached building because we have more of an entrepreneurial type business, and he's online and he's had to work from home throughout the years. So it was intentional when we purchased this property that we would have a detached building in case we ever needed it. We were actually running a purse business out of there originally. And so we're grateful that we have that space. It does need to be finished out because he creates podcast internet things and has to have like soundproofing and stuff. And so I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background, but they're working on that right now. So the mushrooms are on the porch, which I actually really enjoy them out here, if you want to be honest, because they're right off my kitchen. I'm probably going to keep them out here moving forward. And they've been doing really well. I'll show you guys a sneak peek at that. And so transitioning, as we finish up these projects, transitioning back into sharing how to grow a ton of your own food, how to be more prepared in our homes, how to live simple lives. That's sort of what my channel is about prior to the hurricane. And so we'll be going back to a lot of that content, but I will be giving you guys updates. And if anything changes, if the Lord decides like we're not done yet, then we'll lean back into the ministry side with the tiny homes. But that is where we're at right now, finishing off these amazing projects. You guys are such a huge part of this process. Without the funds, we would not have been able to do any of this. So your support has been amazing and incredible. And I will tell you that the families we have provided for are so grateful, guys. Like, we've turned really bad situation into something incredible for not a ton of people, but a small group of people. And that's been a huge blessing. As far as the area, downtown Marshall's looking amazing. Zuma, the iconic coffee shop in town, is back open. Our church is back open. Things are starting to pop back up. I think my natural grocery store is going to be open soon. And so that's super exciting. There's still a huge mess of things that aren't being cleaned up. The trees are a real situation out here. We've lost a few on our property. And I had predicted that would be the case just because the hurricane did so much damage, but didn't actually knock a lot of them over. And so we're seeing with high winds and big storms that a ton of trees are just coming down on the frequent. So that looks weird. It's almost hard to envision how you ever clean that up. And then it increased the fire risk. So we had a big windstorm the other day, and just a few miles down the road had a forest fire spark up. And so there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. You'll be driving down the highway and it's just trees. Like, they look like they just come down at 30, 40 at a time, just plummeting down. Like they just fell down all at the same time. And they're kind of in the road, and I don't know actually how you ever clean that up. I lived in Florida where there's hurricanes and things got cleaned up so fast. Here we're talking about sides of mountains that just kind of cave in on themselves, and it's all just there, which then creates fire hazards. So as far as outside help, nothing's changed. I'm not seeing any outside help. Everything's just being done at a local level or a city government level. As far as cleanup, we're not seeing like the Army Corps of Engineers or anything here at the moment. And honestly, I don't know a lot about the housing crisis situation in other areas. I do know there are a lot of kind of compound type places popping up for tents, tiny homes, RVs, and I think that is honestly going to be the long-term solution for a large number of people, is living in sheds, campers, tents. And ideally, it's like getting them out of tents into campers, and then out of campers into tiny homes or sheds. I think that's been the process along the way, and it's like whoever's next in line. And so I'm still seeing a lot of that. And then I will tell you, out of the 15 shed shelters, so before we started doing the tiny homes, all of those sheds that we were finishing out, I want to say most of them are still in them. I know of one who's not. His trailer was repaired. A couple I don't know of. One was never lived in and just used for storage. So just trying to think. It's been a while, and there's been so many. Most of them, the people are still living in them, and that's the plan for now. And actually 4 of them have been moved to one location, because just by coincidence, or just, through networking, that's how we found people that know each other, are all on one location. And so, yeah, that's just kind of where it's at right now. So thanks for following along. Thank you for all your support. It's been amazing. I will keep you guys updated. We'll do final tours so you guys can see the amazing kitchens that we chose, and just how everything came together to create such beautiful homes in these sheds. Like, they really are. John's is so great. Everything just worked out so perfectly with how it came together, and I'm excited to show you his final kitchen when we get that done. And I just really appreciate you guys. God bless you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.